Um, Sorry for the voice. Raise your hand if you're not hungover from Magic Eden last night. Hi, my name is Rudy. I'm the founder and CEO of ZTX. And today, I'd like to talk less about technical points and a little bit more about the foundational reasons for why we are pursuing a Web3 venture. We're all going to die. So let me say it again. We're all going to die. But this certainty of being tied to a temporally finite and physically binding form of life is what got us interested in the afterlife, religion, mythology, aliens, art, since the beginning of history. And basically, we've had aspirations towards alternate realities for as long as we've been around. Why do we have aspirations towards alternate realities? Because there is a gap between who and where we are in life and who and where we want to be in life. And the oasis of Wade Watts versus his actual physical situation, there's a big delta there, and that kind of a delta is something that all of us encounter at some point in our lives to some degree. And it's our alpha-seeking instincts that nudge us towards alternate settings where we can be unbound from these physical limits and be free to pursue our true aspirations. This was made very clear to me many, many years ago as a Second Life user. Still a young college student, I stumbled upon a world where there were guys with female avatars, with female gender identities, meaning they consider themselves heterosexual women trapped in the bodies of men, and these female avatars were dating male avatars, behind which were women who liked women or women who also consider themselves to be trapped in the wrong gender's body at birth. And of course, this is not what all Second Life relationships are like, but it awoke me to the unique kind of a value proposition that a virtual life could offer. And it's what the WeWork guys have been evangelizing, just in a brick and mortar way. Do what you love. Do what you love. No matter if you're a 50-year-old man, you can still become a J-pop star singer with a completely different physique in the virtual world. And there's a whole spectrum of this, from assuming a totally different identity through your avatars and pursuing your passion, all the way to gamers who are streaming and pursuing their passions, but whilst openly acknowledging their identities in the physical world. And the commonality here is that they're all going to die, so where economically viable, they'd much prefer to spend their time on Earth doing what they love, even if that means in a virtual setting. And that is what our Web2 business called Zepeto precisely enables. Zepeto is the largest Metaverse platform based out of Asia. It is somewhat of a hybrid between a Roblox and a TikTok. And the platform features people like Lenji, pictured here with her avatar, who have made a name for themselves as virtual fashion designers. Lenji wanted to work in fashion, but didn't have the right connections, right degree. So when she found Zepeto, she immersed herself into building 3D virtual fashion items that became a hit. And now, she's generating millions of dollars a year in revenue and managing multiple virtual fashion designers through her business. And she's collaborating with fashion brands that probably years ago, if she had sent them her portfolio and resume, they would not have returned our calls. So the opportunity to do what you love in an economically viable way is what drew more than 2 million creators to our platform. And in the 4 years since we've launched, we've attracted over 300 million lifetime users, 340 million to be precise, while generating north of 3 billion transactions of virtual items. And on any given day, we have over 3 million daily transactions occurring on the platform. And because there's a very heavy entertainment layer to the virtual economy that we offer, our users found the experience sticky and are spending more than 40 minutes a day on the application. The genesis of Zepeto was about enabling people to express themselves and their passions through their avatars. When we looked at the avatar landscape in 2018, we found that there was a demand for higher fidelity, highly customizable avatars. So we shipped our MVP, which was an avatar builder, in the fall of 2018. And fast forward 4 months, we were getting 10 million monthly organic downloads without having spent a penny on marketing. And we didn't spend anything for another 18 months. And I strongly believe that this was because we were enabling people to become who they wanted to be by way of customization. And then we evolved into enabling people to become creators who could create and sell what the virtual items that they loved and that they wanted to see out there. So these virtual items, I'm not just talking about wearables. They include virtual buildings, landscapes, worlds. So we have virtual architects as well, which is also a very lucrative profession. And we have a lot of organizations or brands that are commissioning these creators to build branded spaces in the metaverse. So by doing what you've always been interested in, but in a virtual setting, we have people that are generating 5 figures a year, or sometimes 6 figures a year. It's all Web2. And you consider the fact that our user base is extremely global and distributed. Our top 10 markets are something like Thailand, Indonesia, US, China, Brazil, France, Korea, Japan, Philippines, Vietnam. So it's all very distributed. And if you think about the fact that a lot of these users and creators come from various underdeveloped regions around the world, that money that they're generating is, the money coming from these virtual economic activities is sufficient to put food on the table for families, and it's basically paying for their physical existence. So this brings me to a very important point about why crypto is very important for the metaverse. But I want to stop briefly and digress a little and talk about labor. In the higher echelons of productivity, we strive to create value for society and for others. But at the base level, we start working because we have to support ourselves. We have to survive. Pay for food, electricity, winter clothing, subway tickets, Breakpoint tickets. And we go to school and get an education primarily to train ourselves so that we can successfully work to support our families and ourselves. But technology like AI and a lot of other things are changing what it means to work. From automated translators to delivery drones, many of the jobs of today will die, and labor will shift more towards content creation and consumption online. I mean, we've been seeing this for a while with YouTubers, Twitch streamers, Kevin Rowe's podcasts, OnlyFans. So traditional education will gradually begin to lose merit, not entirely, but a lot more so than is the case today, insofar as they continue to preach training that is focused on physical world-driven labor. And just ask someone like this, Ryan Kaji, 11-year-old OG YouTuber, and his YouTube channel generates 8 figures a year. But what happens when YouTube slaps a red flag on his channel for whatever reason? No explanations, no heads up. Suddenly, his online content, which are his online assets, are frozen. And I was at a hacker house earlier this year, met a bunch of 15, 16-year-olds who had dropped out of high school after meeting in some DAO to ape into NFT projects. And they already had made enough money off of DeFi liquidity pools to support themselves and just build whatever the fuck they wanted to build. So you're just going to see a lot more people like this, where their labor is tied to their content, and because of things like red flags on channels, you want to have ownership of your online assets. It's just so fundamental in an environment where the bulk of the focus and work is about online content. And this is where I stop digressing and come back to why crypto. This is one of many games that were shut down despite having a lot of users. Zynga killed this game, Petville, in 2012, along with 10 other games, because they were going through a management crisis, business crisis. But when they shut this down, Petville still had north of 1 million users who were understandably frustrated that all of their work put into their online joy had vanished overnight. So whether it's from a player-user perspective or from the perspective of a creator like Ryan Kaji, it's just, again, online ownership, ownership of online assets, digital assets, is just very fundamental. And it's even more paramount when the environment and the molecules that form this kind of an environment are assets like 3D wearables or 3D buildings that are subject to market economics, as is the case with Zepeto. Those 15-year-olds that are jumping into DAOs and building games and NFT projects, they're going to be allergic to frameworks where their digital labor is bereft of financial sovereignty. And it's the same with the Second Life users and the virtual singers who are going to spend time and money to purchase assets, build up assets that help them better represent their true identities. And then off of those assets, they create further value through whatever work that they're engaged with. So all of this is why we created ZTX, which is the comprehensive Web3 initiative for all things Metaverse, including but not limited to the Zepeto IP and technology. ZTX will leverage the avatar technology that Zepeto has streamlined for years. And one of the first things that we will be offering to the Web3 communities is a higher fidelity, highly customizable avatar builder, which I think will be very useful to all crypto creators. We'll also draw upon our experience of having built multiple casual games in Zepeto that each have millions of daily active users and offer a diversified gamified experience, allowing people to earn while working as racers, sharpshooters, dragon slayers, detectives. And we will officially kickstart this Web3 venture before the end of the year with a Genesis mint on Magic Eden of our ZTX houses, or home NFTs, and these will grant you access or ownership of ZTX homes in the metaverse. You can find out a lot more about our roadmap in our light paper, which you can access today at ztx.foundation or zepetox.io. ZTX is the shorthand for Zepeto X. And I just want to close by saying that ultimately, what we're trying to do is super simple. Offer a Web3 metaverse proposition to as many people as possible, make it as accessible and enjoyable as possible. That's why we're not selling land. There's no land sale. Land is free. The mint prices for the Genesis Mint are low. We will have a lot of opportunities for people to get access without paying exorbitant sums because, at the very least, we have 340 million people that we need to give access to. Thank you.